Hey, welcome to the Week 11 recap video. I'm going to start off really quickly with this one because there's 21 games to go through, so it's good. I don't want to get caught up and have the video be too long. So we're going to start with number 11, Florida at South Carolina. This game went about the way I thought it would. Florida struggled with South Carolina, but still pulls out the win. And the team I picked, so we're going to starting off on the right foot. The next one was number 3 Ohio State at Illinois. I picked Ohio State, and they won this game handily. Kansas at number 15 TCU. I picked TCU to win this one, but I was shocked at the way they did it. It was such a low-scoring game, and they barely pulled out the win against a Kansas team that's really not good at all. Next was Maryland at number 13 Michigan State. I picked Michigan State to win this one, and they did. So I'm still going off pretty well. Like, I'm 4 for 4 so far. Purdue at number 18 Northwestern. Now this game, Northwestern won it the way I thought they would, but they're not getting a lot of love in the rankings. They went down 2 spots, even though they beat Purdue 21-14. I know it's a low-scoring game, but you got to look at the fact that Northwestern is not an offensive team, and they rely on their defense, and that's what they did in this game, and it paid off. I just don't see them moving them down 2 spots, even though they won. It was a weird move to me. NC State at number 16, Florida State. I picked Florida State to win this one, and they did, but NC State gave them a scare early on. So you should watch out for NC State in any game, anybody who's playing them from now on. Miami, Florida at number 23, North Carolina. Now, North Carolina, to me, is one of the underrated teams in the ACC. They demolished this Miami, Florida team. They're a one-loss team. That one loss to in-state, not in-state rival, but to their out-of-conference rival, South Carolina. So it's not like they lost to nobody. They lost to a team that was actually pretty good. And it's a weird position to have them ranked right now lower than Florida State with 2 losses. I don't know. I don't get that. Next was Wake Forest at number 4 Notre Dame. Notre Dame won this game pretty handily. They didn't look too great, but they won it 28-7. So I mean, the W's there, and that's what matters in the end. Number 1, Clemson at Syracuse. Syracuse gave Clemson a run for their money, but they inevitably came up short. The final score of this one was 37-27. Clemson wins the game. Number 2, Alabama at number 17, Mississippi State. I picked Alabama to win this one, and they did. They demolished Mississippi State. They just destroyed them. And it was enough to knock Mississippi State out of the top 25, which actually, if you think about it, is not too great a thing for Alabama at this point, considering a lot of their teams, a lot of the teams they've played have lost games after playing them. And the team that beat them is Ole Miss, and they just got back into the top 25, but if they lose another game, they're not going to get back in. So it could be a bad thing for Alabama at this point, but it's really not a bad thing if you keep winning. So really, what can you say about it? Number 8, Oklahoma State at Iowa State. This game was exciting. It was great. Iowa State stormed out of the gate, came out with a 24-7 lead that gets cut to 24-14. That got cut to 24-21. But they scored again to go up 31-21, but then they let Oklahoma State score 2 touchdowns without answering at all. Oklahoma State comes back and wins the game, barely surviving this scare against an Iowa State team that probably shouldn't have been there in that game with them. But still, final score of 35-31, Oklahoma State wins the game. Number 14, Michigan at Indiana. This game was exciting, and Indiana's a trap team. They may not win a game in the Big Ten this year, but they've played the best of the Big Ten to the wire. In this game, they played it past the wire. They went to double overtime before Michigan beat them, which was just a phenomenal finish for this team. SMU at number 20, Navy. I picked Navy to win this game, and they came up big for me. They get their 8th win, which, by the way, 9th season in the last 10 seasons, they finished with 8 wins. So that's a huge accomplishment. Now, the first game I got wrong was number 22, Temple at South Florida. I had picked Temple to win the game, but South Florida came out and just owned it. They came out, they took it to Temple, and Temple's fallen out of the top 25, which honestly I don't think is fair, but hey, I don't make the rules. The next game on the list that I got wrong was number 21 Memphis at number 24 Houston. I picked Memphis to win this game because while Memphis did lose to Navy, they lost to a Navy team that ran the ball down their throats. That style of offense proved to be a weakness for this Memphis team. So I thought Houston doesn't run that kind of offense, so maybe Memphis could handle this team better, and they did. But their defense just didn't handle them enough. Houston comes out and gets the win, but it was a close game. Next game I got wrong, 3rd in a row, Arkansas at number 9 LSU. Now, I didn't even think Arkansas was going to do this, but LSU just, I guess they were reeling from that loss to Alabama last week. But it was, the Arkansas came out and just started punching them in the nose, like boom, 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 and did not let up. Went up to a 21-0 lead. While they did cut that to 21-14, LSU did, they just never got beyond that 14-point hump, and Arkansas comes out with the 31-14 win over number 9 in the nation, which makes Arkansas bowl eligible this season. Next on the list was Oregon at number 7, Stanford. Now, I picked Stanford, but this game was tricky because Oregon is a rivalry game, and while they have had a quote-unquote bad season and they've looked bad at points, they are still a really good team. Now, in this game, Oregon and Stanford just went back and forth at each other the whole game. But then at the end, it's Oregon who found themselves up 38-30. Now, Stanford, with 10 seconds left, scores the touchdown and has to go for 2. When they try to go for 2, they throw the ball into the end zone, and the defender knocks it away, seals the win. But if you actually watch the play, it looks like he might have gotten a hand on the receiver. But it's in that gray area where they sometimes call it, they sometimes don't. And they didn't call it. So it's technically legal at that point. But the point remains, Oregon comes out with a big win over Stanford, jumps themselves up into the top 25. Stanford comes down to number 11. But they still have a chance to win the Pac-12. So Stanford's hopes are still alive for the Pac-12 championship, but it looks like they might be out of the national title runs. The next game was number 12 Oklahoma at number 6 Baylor. Now this is the first team in the top 10 that lost that I actually picked right. I picked Oklahoma to win the game. Because I just felt Baylor without their starting quarterback, I felt they weren't going to be strong enough to overcome this Oklahoma team. They almost did, but it was a final of 44-34 that Oklahoma just sealed this win. They move up to, I believe, number 7, and Baylor drops only to number 10. So Baylor's still in the top 10. They're a one-loss team now, but it's going to take a miracle for them to get into the playoffs. Next game, I got this one right as well. Minnesota at number 5, Iowa. I picked Iowa. I thought it was going to be close because Minnesota's one of those teams in the Big Ten. They play everyone close, who's supposedly way better than them. So this one, a final of 40-35 for a win for Iowa. It keeps Iowa in the same exact spot as they were last week, which is a good position for them because if they win out, go to the Big Ten championship, they're going to play either Ohio State or a Michigan State, possibly a Michigan. It all depends on who wins out there. But if Ohio State loses to Michigan State and Michigan State goes in and Iowa beats Michigan State, Iowa just needs to win out and they will make the playoffs. There's no way they don't make the playoffs if they win out their regular season and they win the Big Ten. Number 10, Utah at Arizona. This is the last game I got wrong, and I picked Utah because I thought it was going to be a close game, but I thought Utah was going to come out on top. Arizona's just sort of been struggling a little bit this season, but this is another one of those double overtime games. The first, they tie the game at 27 in the third quarter. Nobody scores in the fourth quarter. Go to overtime. It goes up from 27-27 to 30-30. They go to double overtime. Arizona gets the ball for its double overtime, scores a touchdown, goes up 37-30. But then on 4th and 8 for Utah, they convert. So they get the first down, they get a fresh set of downs, and then they get backed up into a 4th and 16. Throws it to the end zone, incomplete. Arizona holds on for the win, 37-30. The last game in this list for last week was Washington State at UCLA, number 19 UCLA. I got this one wrong too. I picked UCLA, and Washington State is the team that won. So it's like you can't always get them right. But I thought Washington State was going to give them trouble. I didn't think they were going to pull out the win. I thought UCLA was going to be on a high note for this. But hey, can't always be the right one, huh? So that's what it was. My numbers are a little wrong because I marked that one wrong on my paper. I got 15 of 21 correct. I don't have percentages for you because I gotta do the math on that. But 15 of 21 correct for the week on ranked games. That puts me at 173 of 217 for the whole season in ranked games. Now, I only marked it wrong in one spot. I marked it right in my other section, so I do have the full numbers for you. Of the 689 games played this season, I've gotten 520 correct. That puts me at a 75.5% correct rate, which I gotta say I'm pretty proud of that. It's above 50%, and I actually am at a point where I will be above 50% no matter what happens. I could get every single game for the rest of the season wrong. I'll still be above 50% on the season. So it's a good spot for me to be in. Hopefully I don't get every game wrong for the rest of the season. That would suck. But hey, oh, and again this week I got 19 wrong. It was my worst week in terms of numbers, percentage-wise. Last week I told you I tied my worst exactly. I got 41 of 60, 68.3%. Well, this week, week 11 is now officially my worst in the books. I have 40 of 59, and I have a 67.8% for this week. Now, I gotta say, 67.8% as my worst is still pretty good. But thank you guys for tuning in, and leave a comment below, a like if you like the video, and let me know what you guys think is going to go on. I'm kind of excited. In the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try to do something on my predictions video. I'm going to not only do predictions, because after week, what is it? After week 13, it drops to single-digit games. There's only 7 in week 14 and only 1 in week 15. That's the Army-Navy game. So those weeks, I'll probably start throwing in my predictions for who I think is going to be the top 4 teams, who I think is going to make the playoffs given at this point. And I'll even maybe throw in a comparison of that compared to who I had picked in the very beginning of the season. So hey, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and thanks.